Okay, so this video actually is a video that came out of some files of mine that I found from when I started the channel a long time ago, and I'm like, these are good topics. I didn't realize I had them in there. This video is regarding the propensity for cynicism in the INTJ. So again, as always, I come from the aspect of this is subjective. The content is purely just from my own thoughts as an INTJ female. So as always, would love to hear other people's thoughts on this topic. So I'll start off. I had to go and actually look at the true definition of it. And I mean, there is multiple ones depending on which online dictionary you're going for, but the one that I found was cynicism is an attitude of scornful or jaded negativity, especially a general distrust of the integrity or professed motives of others. So the first thing that comes to mind for me is, am I a cynic? Do I feel that I have cynicism in my own mental makeup? And I would have to say that yes, I do. As negative as the definitions come across, I feel for myself, I've always had the skeptic's eye, and usually it leads into just learning more. And really, I can't say enough, it usually starts with two things. One is something not congruent with what I'm seeing. So if I'm seeing something and it's not jiving with what it nor a 99 out of 100 times would look like, then I'm going to start asking the number 2 point, which is why. Why am I noticing that? Why am I wondering that? Why do I care? Like, what is making me all of a sudden have to flip on an internal radar on something that really is not affecting me? And I'm saying all this at a very high level. But it's usually that incongruency that really resonates with me internally, and it bugs me. It eats at me until I start thinking about it a little bit more and putting some more context into it and analyzing what parts are making it so. So I've mentioned before, I have a very big interest in the study of body language and understanding how that correlates to people's perception as well as your internalization of others regarding the way that they present themselves with their body language. And I find that tied with what people are saying in everyday context, the voice fluctuations, the change in tone, things like that, definitely also are part of that trigger about whether or not it is seeming that it's out of place or not appropriate. Sorry, I keep picking at my face, but it's because I have a cat hair. Anyways, wanted to go on where obviously a cynic is subjective. There's multiple layers in the spectrum of where you fit on the cynic level of either 0 to 100. For me, it would be great just to live every day taking everything at face value and getting fed what you're served and everything's fine. But unfortunately, I guess for myself, fortunate and unfortunate, there is that nagging that doesn't go away. And you just are more curious about using, again, the research skills least for myself, love research that keeps trying to look at different angles to see where the cynicism is actually a qualified response rather than just you coming off as someone who is either, you know, paranoid or someone who is unjust in the judgment of they place on others based on the way other people live their lives. Speaking to that a little bit, as we INTJs, one of the components that kind of make up our fabric is we tend to be open-minded about people and their experiences. I mean, you do you. Again, I'm not able to go and step in your shoes and make sense of that. So coming out from their point of view that's their point of view. But it's usually the parts that are the tiny little parts that cause us to start chipping away at facades. I feel that that's a strength that we tend to have as INTJs, is just breaking through facades that we see and then looking to see why there's a disconnect. And while we can make judgment calls on things, as all people can, because I mean, a lot of times that's the natural inclination for us. We are interested in knowing more. So if we're proven wrong on what we dug into, then that's an interesting component in itself. And that adds to the tools in the toolkit on, okay, so if this happens, this also could mean this. And it helps with us understanding people more. I'm just looking at my notes still. I think a big point too with the cynicism side is we're looking into what's being told to us and not being told. So when our little flags are going up, at least for myself, I'm starting to look at, well, hey, here's the message, but let's look at that message. Okay, it looks nice and tidy, but is that message trying to force us into a certain position of where our mind is supposed to be and where we're supposed to be sitting as, you know, regular Joe Schmoes tax-paying citizens? Or so that, I guess in that point, it'd be more like, are they pushing us into a propaganda type thing where they're trying to compel a certain agenda? Or what's not being told, which is, again, the why thing. So understanding more of the depth. So if we aren't getting enough robust information regarding why something's being brought up in the first place, and going into more depth as to the importance or lack of importance of a certain issue, we're going to start questioning that a little bit further. But it's also how it's being told, whether it's being rammed top down heavy on us, or it's being percolated through some other form that's more general and subjective and benign looking. I guess it's the medium and the message that go together, that if there's any sort of difference between the two and how they rest together, then there is that spidey sense that pops up. So anyways, love to hear other people's thoughts on how cynical you are, or if you are not, and why. And look forward to hearing from that for the community. And as always, video requests, just put them in the comment section and I'll make sure to jot them down. As you can tell, like, I do keep everything, again, in paper form. I know, wrecking the environment, but I am recycling that paper. So thanks so much.